Hi, folks. This is Dr. Rob Cywes, the carb addiction doc. And I'm going to talk about a very emotional topic right now. As you can see, it's not a good look. You can call it my COVID camouflage, is what I've used to talk about my look. But it really has a different backstory. About 2.5 weeks ago, I lost my father. He had a good death. He died quietly in his sleep at the age of almost 90 after a brief illness, after a brief pulmonary illness that wasn't COVID related. But although kind of at 90 you expect someone to die, you're never quite prepared for it. And part of what this look is part of my mourning recognition. It is part of the process that allows me and gives me permission to feel sad, to feel the grief, to go through that process of life is not normal for a little while. And although I am so thankful that I had the opportunity to spend a lifetime with my father. God, I'm in my 50s. I've had the luxury of such a long time with him and such a meaningful relationship. A lot of people are deprived of that. And I understand that I'm on the fortunate side, not the unfortunate side. I also have a father who did some amazing things in his life. First dedicated pediatric surgeon on the continent of Africa. First professor of pediatric surgery in a freestanding hospital on the continent of Africa. Separated more conjoined twins than any other human being currently on the face of the earth of Africa, of the world. Conjoined twins are Siamese twins that was his specialty, who discovered and described the cause of intestinal atresia in babies, together in collaboration with a number of other people, including Yanni Lowe. But a godsend to the children of Africa, and I followed in his footsteps, but I got these tiny little footprints. A great man. And that was just in the healthcare field. Trained so many people. For everyone that he's trained, you've got the spread of other folks that he's trained that have carried that message, carried that inquisitive nature of why. In healthcare, why is what he asked. But he was also a horticulturalist. He hybridized flowers and plants, and roses and orchids, and then Dyser orchids. Incredibly difficult to grow, but always was dominated with the question why. And more than anything else, what he's passed on to me is that inquisitive nature, that willingness to ask why and continue to ask why until the answer satisfies you. But also a complete willingness to change your mind when you find the answer doesn't fit your theory. Instead of trying to hammer your theory home into an answer that it doesn't suit, have the humility to change your mind. Listen to other people's viewpoints, even if the concept is controversial. So why is what I inherited from my father? And as I go through this mourning process, and it's horrible, no matter how you prepare yourself for it, loss is awful, because I don't have him to talk to. I don't have him as a reflection of me. And isn't that ultimately what we are? We get raised a certain way, we become that person, and then we raise our own kids the same way. So I am a reflection of him. Am I a better or a worse reflection? I don't know. Time will tell. Hopefully I will become better. Hopefully I'll improve on his weaknesses and embellish and enhance his strengths in me. But not only did I lose my father, I lost my father under lockdown conditions under COVID. I'm here in Florida in the United States of America. My father died in Cape Town, South Africa. My mom is alone at home. She has early Alzheimer's. I wasn't able to be there for my father. My father died alone. My father died alone in a hospital, in a rehab facility. So I wasn't there to go through that mourning process. I wasn't there to go through that with my family. We're all over the place. Thank you, COVID, for that. But the reality is this. If I look at what happened with my dad and what happened with me through this process, I could have taken two tactical options. Most of you have heard about my addiction to carbohydrates, and that's a battle I'm continuously fighting. Thank goodness, with the support of a loving wife and friends and people around me. But the death of my father could quite readily, under the constraint of COVID, been a very, very easy trigger, a very valid reason to go back to crystal meth, to go back to carbohydrates, to curl up in a ball, climb into bed with a bag of M&Ms and stay there. But one of the key things that I've been able to do, thankfully, with people around me is put a positive twist on that death. To look at him in a positive way, to use this as an opportunity of relatively sudden, unexpected emotional upheaval in my life. Taking care of the business, the administration of death. Taking care of my mom, not being there to bury him. Tough things. I could use that as a pretext to fall apart, use it as a way to go negative and down and fall into this pit of despair and depression, or I can put a positive twist on his death and use my strength, the strength that I've been building for the last 20 years in little sequences, the effort-based emotion management system that I've been building up to replace the role that carbohydrates had in my life. And I can leverage that and use that to give me the emotional buoyancy to tolerate the combination of COVID and the loss of my dad. And that's what I've done. How successful I've been? I've been about as successful as I could possibly hope to have been. I'm certainly not perfect. I've had my moments. But I mourn him by looking at myself in the mirror and knowing that I'm in mourning. I mourn him when I'm on the walks with my dog. I mourn him when I'm talking to people. I mourn him when I look at the strengths. When somebody says, wow, I love what you're doing in your videos. That's part of my healing process, because the ability to present these videos, the ability to talk about metabolic health and to have asked that question why and continue to ask that, that's his legacy. That's within me. The ability to teach, the ability to educate, and the two are very different, comes from him. My authoritarianism, the thing that made me an addict or vulnerable to addictive behavior, also comes from him. I was raised in a very authoritarian family dynamic. But this is a moment of introspection. It's not a moment of blame. He was doing the best he could, given the tools he had available to him. And so am I. And I can use this moment of mourning to be introspective, to look at my relationship with him. And I can look at how he helped me, or I can look at how much I hate him for having made ridiculous demands of me. That's what authoritarian parents do. They want their children to succeed. And what they do is they create ridiculous expectations. And whenever you try really hard, you never meet their expectations. So the gap between the effort I was able to put in and the expectations my dad had, that gap is filled with a sense of failure, a sense of self-loathing that is so erosive to my self-esteem and my self-confidence that was in the toilet. And then I created this whole facade that was there to protect my self-esteem being in the toilet. And every one of my liabilities is because of that. And yet, every one of my strengths is because my father helped me to become productive, to be the person I am, to work really hard. And it was incumbent upon me to close that gap, to let go of expectationalism, to let go of perfectionism, to develop self-compassion. So instead of a sense of failure because I didn't achieve some metric, I can now have pride in the actions that before were a liability for me. And my father was doing the best. He didn't want me to feel awful about myself. He wanted me to have great self-esteem, but he thought great self-esteem came through great events, great results. But I also know that didn't work for him. But he never understood it. I have the clarity of that understanding. It doesn't make it any easier. I still have to work through it. But that's where, when someone dies, you can be introspective as well as empathetic. If I looked at how he hurt me by using that strategy, I would hate him. But if I stand in his shoes, and I look back at how much he loved me and how much he wanted me to be even better than his own greatness, Now I can understand that. Now I can understand that he really loved me and he only wanted the best for me, even though it felt like he was hurting me and stomping on me. He wasn't doing that because he hated me. He was doing that because he loved me. And as I sit here and I put a positive twist on that, I can celebrate his life, not hate him for it. I can celebrate the gift he gave for me. Yes, it took some uncovering, it took some working through, but I can celebrate that gift. So I mourn him through celebration, not through sadness. And I hope that when this happens to you, because it'll happen to every one of you, it probably has already, that you're able to take an empathetic, introspective path rather than the easy path, which is to hate or to distance or to feel sad or to feel depressed. Celebrate the person for their positive qualities. Don't allow the tsunami of the negative to drown you. I'm on that path. I have my good days and my bad days. I hope this has touched you. I hope that you remember this when your time comes to mourn. But I also hope that if you're living and you have a relationship with someone, that you can tell them how much you love them, that you can tell them how much you respect them, that you can tell them how much you care for them and are proud of them, irrespective of their accomplishments. Because God knows we're all doing the best we can with the tools we have. Thank you.